I decided 2 weeks before the election to endorse Trump myself. And I called him up and he answered the phone. We talked a little bit and I said, well, what should my endorsement say? And he brought up Ross.
Wow.
To me. And so he said, you could put that in your endorsement. And I thought, well, that would be a good way to lock this in.
Yeah.
So I did. I put it in my endorsement. In the middle of my endorsement is a sentence that says, the president has committed to freeing Ross Ulbricht. And then President Trump retweeted my endorsement. It was it's not legally binding, but it really, I think, made it more solid. And I was, just based on my personal conversation with President Trump, I was certain he was going to keep his word on this. And to me, this is a litmus test, really. Are you going to convert those campaign promises into reality? Because once you get elected, it's hard to hold people accountable. Right?
I was worried. I mean, it has been over 24 hours. He was even getting some flack from Fox News for not having done it sooner, but he did. He's kept his word on so many things.
Well, and I want to share with you a letter that Ross wrote me on December 14th of this year. And his mom, Lynn, gave this to me. And I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this because it's personal, but it brought a tear to my eye. Mr. Massie, Inauguration Day fast approaches, and my hopes are running high that our new president will quickly put an end to my incarceration once he is sworn in. As I await the beginning of my new life in freedom, I just want to acknowledge you and thank you for your part in bringing about this wonderful outcome. You have consistently been a powerful voice in the public sphere, supporting my campaign for freedom, so my imminent release is as much a victory for you as it is for me and my family. Thank you for every single time you supported me, both publicly and in private. You put your faith and confidence in me, and now that I'm getting my second chance, I promise to make you proud that you did. I would love to connect with you once I am on the other side of these walls to see how I can help further the cause of freedom. So he's already thinking about what he can do. I know Josie's crying. I cried when I read this. I've read it twice, practiced it without, this is the first time I've been able to read it without crying. Because this is, like you were saying, Tim, this is a personal example of how an election matters, down to somebody who was going to rot in prison, was rotting in prison. And by the way, Ross, he didn't even, he was willing to settle for less than what Trump gave him. He was willing to settle to have a sentence commuted, which means you're basically guilty, an admission of guilt, but your sentence is over. You've served enough time. And it was a ridiculous over-sentencing, regardless of the guilt or not. I think it's a violation of the Eighth Amendment. The Eighth Amendment to our Constitution says no cruel or unusual punishment. Why should you get 2 life sentences plus 40 years?
Well, explain what he's accused. What was he accused of doing?
Running a website that allowed people to buy and sell drugs, for instance, using Bitcoin. I think they made an example out of him because they didn't want people using Bitcoin. And now it's far more mainstream, but I think that's one of the reasons they did it.
But I think we should clarify, I guess. The website allowed people to buy and trade. What people did with it after the fact was what the people did with it.
Well, MasterCard lets you pay for prostitutes, right? You can't and obviously he was trying to enable a broader set of trade, but I think it was ridiculous over sentencing. And here's another example why it was. Everybody who committed a crime using that website is already free.
Yeah, lesser sentences.
Lesser sentences than him running the website. So this was an attack on freedom of speech, really, to some degree, being able to run this website, but also on Bitcoin and alternate currencies. And Ross was the scapegoat. He was the example. They wanted to make an example. By the way, the people who, Trump alludes to the morals or moral depravity of the people who convicted Ross, they're the FBI investigators or whatever. Some of those were convicted themselves of lying and setting up evidence. And they're already out as well, but they were the ones who were, trying to set Ross up in some of these things. And then there was a public smear campaign against Ross that scared a lot of people away, a lot of congressmen, from trying to take up his cause because, oh my gosh, Ross did that. Oh, he tried to order a hit on somebody. Like that was one of the claims that was made. never prosecuted, never brought up in court. I guarantee you, if they had any evidence of that, they would have used it to convict him for another life sentence.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, they were throwing the book at him, but because they had those stories out there circulating that Ross tried to order a hit on somebody, for instance, that scared people away from taking up Ross's cause. Now, there was a letter circulated among Congress that got, a few dozen signatures, were some people who weren't scared of it. But this is it's just a great win. I know Dominic's celebrating the victory, and this is one of the realizations of that victory.
Right.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.